Hello everybody, Gamer here. Today we got a little bit of a different video. This is honestly probably what's on everybody's mind based on the title. Because I've got two things I'm going over today. One is how I think 4's are going right now. And two is the absolutely loved topic of Warmonger. I'm turning into Rick apparently. Of Warmonger. So today, and over the past few days, I've noticed that there's something going on with 4's. And it's that, well, it's that the honor code, that thing we held on to so dearly back into the early days of For Honor, where if you weren't 1v1ing somebody, or if you ledged or did something that was viewed as unhonorable, you were the most hated person in that lobby, and they would go and tell all their friends who played, and you would just get so much heat thrown your way. I've noticed that is making a comeback in 4's, but at the same time, that's not necessarily a good thing, considering that Warmonger has appeared on the battlefield. And obviously I'm going to be spectating this Warmonger just for an example. This is not me, this is all spectator mode, as you can tell by the fact that everybody's highlighted. And I'm seeing it with a lot of newer players too. Like, they probably heard about the whole honor code of For Honor, didn't have the money for it at the time, and just wanted to try and make the game seem fun with the whole honor code. Sorry, just trying to make it so we're not looking at a dead body the whole time. And for the newer players, if they hold on to that concept of the whole honor code throughout the game, with Warmonger making an appearance, that's not gonna end very well for them. Like, they're gonna come to this game thinking they were gonna have fun, and then Warmonger shows up and throws that fun out the window. Because this game honestly needs people. This game needs more people to play the game more often, because Ubisoft is shafting people. Kind of like how this Warmonger is getting shafted right now and just utterly abused. But with how that's going, For Honor is just gonna get worse and worse. Like, worse than with its current player base and devs just shitting all over it. Because suddenly this person who's probably got a bunch of friends on, like, COD, the new Modern Warfare, or in Warzone, they're gonna see For Honor, they might take some interest in it. Get like a rep or so, and just shit all over it if that's their experience with it. And honestly, if that was me, I would too, because like, I come to this game thinking it's gonna be something interesting to play. I come thinking it's gonna be, you know, something where I can, like, have an actual, like, medieval duel with somebody, because, you know, who doesn't want to grab a sword and slap the shit out of somebody with it? But the issue is just, if that person comes from a different game with a wide community, and they spread word about For Honor, it's not going to be nice. Like, everybody knows that. Like, even the people in For Honor don't have anything nice to say about it, aside from, you know, like, the casuals like myself. Like, I can still pick out, like, a few good things to say about the game. But that doesn't mean that they don't outshine the negatives. like attack tracking or something like that.
Stay here.
Or just like how busted we think some feats are. Cough, cough. But I honestly don't think the return of the honor code is good for the community, because yeah, it's something that the original, the OG For Honor players held on to, but those of us that remember it just kind of left it behind. Like, yeah, we remember that it existed, but we're not clutching it like it's the only thing that we have. Because we've moved on from For Honor. As For Honor has evolved, the people who stuck with it since launch, like myself, have evolved from that. We don't hold on to that honor code like it's the only thing that we will ever need. Because I guarantee you it is not. And if new players flood in, hearing about that honor code, or returning players who quit the game that were there during the honor code come back and see all this, they're not going to be too pleased. Because I've taken a few breaks, I've noticed some changes, I've kept up with the changes because I watched like Faram, Havoc, 4's, Raven Gaming. I watch the big news. Or just, you know, like the general clutches, but that's just me. So, honestly, I think that the new players should forego the whole honor code thing. Sorry about that. Like they should forego the honor code like the OG players have. Because, well, yes, it sucks when something like that happens. We fully acknowledge that it's going to happen. Like, we still know that it's going to happen. We still know that there's no real way to work around it. Like, there's no way to just for sure avoid it. But, on to my next topic. Well, actually, first, in summary, the honor code was good in thought when the game came out, but in today's For Honor, it doesn't belong. But now then, on to my next topic. The one people have been screaming about, so lovely about. So much. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this topic. Warmonger's feats. Specifically, her original feats. I can't get into a conversation without about Warmonger without someone bringing up how absolutely busted they are. And they're right. Warmonger's feats are absolutely busted. But they're also made in a way that counters pretty much the primary strategy of For Honor, which is deathballing. And if you're unfamiliar, let me explain it to you real quick. Deathballing is when the entire team sticks together at all given times. Like, if one person gets separated and gets into a gank, the entire team comes running. It gives a lot of immediate point control, and the only real way to counter it is to split up the team by, like, capturing multiple points at once, because they're either going to run individually all to one point and just sweep through it, or they're going to split up and thus stop the death ball. But Warmonger is made in such a way that makes deathballing just not possible. Especially with her tier 1 feat, which is Nusha's tier 4, but on something that you can avoid. Because you activate the feat, you have 15 seconds to hit somebody with it, and if you do hit somebody with it, it's stuck with them for 20 seconds. And honestly, I know this is gonna infuriate some people because y'all are just die-hard deathballers or die-hard, you know, team fight players. Like, yes, I know, that's the point of the 4v4. Team fights. But when you have a Warmonger and you clutch onto that whole, you know, oh, it's a team fight, why should I have to stop going in there just because somebody activated their feat? I got a real simple solution for you. Take your team or whoever you're with, like your go-to players, like, you know, because you probably have a group that you like to play with, and y'all typically know what the other are gonna do. Have your designated person. This person is really good at defense. They can block, they can parry. Can I help you? No. Have your designated person that's good at defense overall, or one that's good at surviving an anti-gank that looks like a not quite Faram while, you know, trying to be Faram. Have them go up and take that hit. Have them just waste Warmonger's feet. Or, if you have somebody that's low HP, have them run up as a sacrificial lamb to take Warmonger's feet. And just let them die. Yes, I know, that you're essentially saying, oh, so you're just saying we should just kill ourselves just so that Warmonger can't use her feet. But she still gets to use her feet. Yes and no, because if you send out your person who's really good at defense, then obviously they're gonna have a hard time actually making use of the pressure because they can't get a hit in, and if Warmonger has their tier 3 unlocked, which deals more damage to a corrupted target, they can't really make use of that now, can they? Or say if you have somebody who's already close to death, and they die within like 1 or 2 hits of Warmonger of the feat getting applied to them, then that's essentially Warmonger's tier 1 used up. The feat's gone. It's suddenly out of the picture for another 45 seconds. Yes, I know that is an obscene recharge time for a feat that powerful. And honestly, it's probably gonna get nerfed down to 90 seconds, like, yeah, I did. Thank God. But anyways, as for her tier 2 and tier 3, you can't really counter that without also countering her tier 1 or tier 4. So, in order to counter her tier 2 and 3, you have to be able to counter her tier 1 or 4. Which, again, easier said than done. If you are a die-hard team fight player, meaning you think that it should always be a 4v4 and you don't think that your ability to go and help your teammates should be inhibited, I've got some unfortunate news for you. Like, somebody is going to have to play the part of, like, the sacrificial lamb or just give themselves up and just eat that Warmonger feat. Because if you just try and, you know, go in, you're gonna kill yourselves a lot faster than Warmonger would just trying to swing at you guys individually. Not to mention there's also the the obscene health regen that Warmonger gets from this feat. This would outpower, say, a Stalwart Banner on a Black Prior who's clutched down into their Bulwark stance with the healing feat on a point they have already captured. If the entire enemy team surrounds one person. Even worse with Breach, because I forget who displayed the video, but for Breach, if you use your Corruption Blast, which is her tier 4, on the whole enemy team and the commander or an officer or some other thing that can be targeted with Corruption, then one tick, one singular tick, as in one activation of the damage, will heal Warmonger from a singular point of HP up to full, if not, like, so near to full they're only missing 1 HP. That's a bit ridiculous. And obviously you can't do much about it other than, you know, just making the, if you can't do much about it if you're all grouped up. Like, if you strictly believe that it is a team fight mode and it should stay a team fight mode, then Warmonger is the bane of your existence. And I honestly think that's how she was planned. She was planned to break up ganks, because honestly, like, probably all the data that the devs are seeing is just like, oh, it's a gank after gank after gank after gank. And I don't think they would be wrong, because in 4's, which is the majority of what I play, yes, I'm aware I'm talking about 4's, like, there's always going to be a gank. You're always going to be outnumbered or outnumbering someone. The odds are never going to be in an even playing field. It's always going to be one person's favor or the other. There's never really just 4v4 or 3v3. Like, and if there is, it doesn't last very long. And we all know this. I apologize for any pauses I'm doing, because, like, I'm watching this while also trying to commentate, and I surely hope that the audio is coming through. But you have to counter Warmonger by honestly giving up a sacrificial lamb to the Warmonger. You have to be willing to give up a teammate, or otherwise you're just gonna come up short, and the Warmongers are gonna crush you each and every time. And that's probably why people are screaming that she's overpowered. Is because y'all are die-hard teamfight players, and suddenly Warmonger comes around with her anti-gank feats and just unparalleled survivability. Case in point, actually, like what's happening right here. Or, like, what I like to do is, when I apply corruption, I like to throw them to the minions. So they take damage, the minions take damage, I'm healing for 2 ticks. And I get more healing, they have to work that much harder to try and beat me. So it's honestly a chore to try and kill a Warmonger who doesn't want you to kill them. So, in summary, you have to let it become a 1vx situation. I know that's not the case for, like, duels, but duelists don't have to worry about this problem. Duelists don't have to worry about feats or a gank or anything. But I'm only speaking in terms of 4's. I only ever speak in terms of 4's. Stand your ground! And that's honestly the case I'm trying to make here, is 4's. 4's. But anyways, in summary, you have to let that person, whoever that is in that Warmonger's sights, if they have corruption on them, you have to let them just die off. Like, you have to let that corruption either fade, either by them just being a stubborn son of a bitch and living, or just getting absolutely obliterated really, really quickly. I know that's not something that y'all want to hear. I know that you guys don't want to hear the, oh, just let your person die, whoever's targeted with corruption, because yes, you're going to be essentially feeding them feats, you're going to be feeding them their tier 4 faster, you're going to be giving them more and more of an advantage. But the thing is, Warmonger is a vanguard. She's not a heavy. She doesn't get bonus renown off of assists like Shigoki, Conqueror, Blackbriar, all the other heavies do. She needs to win outnumbered fights which means in a gank, she's actually earning much less renown than if she would in a 1v1 situation. But yes, case in point, I'm repeating myself at this point. If you have somebody targeted by Warmonger and they have corruption on them, you need to let them die. You have to let them die. They need to die fast. If it helps, just unlock and let the stagger rate take over. I know nobody wants to hear that, and I know it's probably not your favorite thing to hear. But it's honestly what's gonna work. But yeah, this has been IA Gamer. This is my little talk on the 4v4 game modes and how to counter Warmonger.